Hello everyone, welcome to my second video. As you can see, I have another Chinese elm in front of us. That's just a coincidence because it just happens to be the first tree that I've got out of the unheated greenhouse. I brought it out because I thought with the better weather we've had over the last few days, it'd be good to give it a bit of an air, give it some fresh water. And also, I didn't want it to force too much. So the buds have started to move because it does get warmer in the greenhouse during the day when it's sunny. So I don't want this one forced. So we're going to take a look at this one. I'm going to give it a bit of a tidy up. I've had this tree a few years. As you can see, it's exposed root, and it's also a rough bark. Whereas the tree that we were looking at the weekend, that one there, is a lace bark. You can just see it's got some bark that's peeling off. So there is a difference. There are several different types of Chinese elm. You can clearly see if I get a little bit closer, the bark there is very, very rough, and you can see also within the roots here, you can see the rough bark developing. Yeah. So rough bark Chinese elm, and this is a much larger tree. You can see the scale. Also, it has a very large, strong, exposed roots, and it's very nice. I love this tree. Just turn it around, you can see the scale of that root. It's obviously in semi cascade style, but these roots have really grown and swelled over the last a few years I've had it. If we just look underneath, you can see how rough that bark is and how aged it's getting. So very nice. The ramification was very basic when I acquired it, but as you can see, it's developing very strongly. So got a nice crown to the canopy there, and it's nicely spread out. Just needs, you can see where I gave it quite a hard trim in the autumn, but it needs tidying up now. There's a bit of conflict going on, upwards and downwards growing branches and things which need to be tidied up, but it's a nice tree. I really do like it. You can see the size of it there compared to my hand. So I'm 6'3", so I've got quite big hands, so you can sort of get an impression of the scale of it. I've still got some wire on. I will probably take this off and see if that branch has actually stayed in position now. So obviously I wanted to move that back a bit over to the root, gives it some depth back that way, because obviously the whole tree at the moment is going that way, apart from the canopy. I'm just going to put the lock on. Okay. Stop this platform, turntable, move around. So you can see obviously the movement of the tree is very much that way or that way. I mean, this is a circular pot, obviously with the indents, so it doesn't really matter which way around, but whichever way you do it, obviously to see the root that way, or just do that way, yeah, to show off the root. But you definitely need something to draw your eye a little bit away from there, or go that way, and it will look a bit unbalanced. You can't really see it very well that way. So if I go like that, come down, hopefully you can see the ramification. Obviously untidy, but we'll get that cleaned up and I'll show you what we've done in a short while. Hello. So I've been doing some trimming, still got more to do. What you will notice is I've taken some of the heaviness out of here. The danger here is that there's a bit of sort of knuckling going on, so I've taken some weight out of it, and I'm going to see what happens, but it may be I have to take that out and make this a new apex, just so keeping taper, but because that's getting a bit thick, so I am worried about that. However, there are some issues, so I'm going to try and improve that where it's cut off. So I'm going to do a little bit of carving in there, but we've got things like that's weak there. There's a space here, so I need to have a look at that again. I also don't know whether that branch, so if we come here, that needs to come down a little bit, just to put some canopy there. So with elms, they do tend to bounce up a little bit, so you do have to keep on top of them. But I have taken quite a bit out. There's still more tidying up. There's messy bits everywhere. There are a few knuckles still that I've taken out, but there's still more to do. But it is improving. There's virtually no dead branches in it, which is good, because I did try and keep on top of it. It does get very dense, this tree, but you can see I've taken quite a bit off already. So I'm going to carry on with that process, tidy it up a little bit, just have a look. Yeah, there's still bits to adjust and probably do a bit of wiring. So I'm going to continue, and I'll see you in a bit. I suppose I wanted to put a bit more explanation in. I've just been thinking about this. So about the approach to trees. So this tree has obviously got its exposed root. The root system is fantastic, but it's very twisty in nature. So the individual roots are very twisty. There is a little bit of rotation in it, and what you'll see is in the branch development that's been followed through. So you can see lots of twisting in branches, and that's an indicative of what happens in nature. But also because of that nature of the root system, the exposed root system being very twisty, if you had very straight branches that came out the top of it, it would look a bit daft. So there is a lot of the shape of the overall tree and the nabari as such, exposed root, it's also followed through within the trunk. So I know that main trunk there is quite straight, but that's the strength of the tree. I mean, this is a big solid mass, so it needs a particularly strong inner trunk there. But the branches that come off are also very twisty and bendy, and you're only getting straight parts where you really come out into the ramification, and they're very short. You're not going to get away from that. You can't put the twists in there, and it probably look ridiculous anyway. But you can see lots of bendy, twisty branches within the structure. So just wanted to say that. The knuckles, if you don't know, knuckles are where you get bulges in the branch that are thicker than the branch closer to the trunk, and you get that because you get lots of growth, lots of small branches coming off, and it's obviously producing energy in those leaves. It gets passed into the trunk, and you're going to get bulging because you've got too many branches coming off like an intersection, and so it makes them thicker than the branch below, and obviously unsightly. So there is some of that in here. It's not a perfect tree, but it will improve over time. But you need to keep on top of the growth, especially when they're more vigorous. This is a very vigorous tree, so I did keep on top as much as possible, but I still missed some. I've got a lot of trees, so it is easy to miss parts where there's too many branches coming out and it starts to form knuckles. So I just thought I'd explain that a little bit for those who don't know. Thank you. Hello. So I've had the Dremel on there. I've carved it back a little bit, hollowed it out, and I've also gone round and just taken it back to a little bit of live wood. hoping that that's going to start to callus over. So I'm going to put some cut paste on it, and we'll see what happens over the season. But it is tidier. It's just obviously a hole at the moment, but hopefully it will callus over, and then will callus over in time. It's probably going to take some time, but it'll make it a lot more prettier. Let's see what happens. Hello. So all the cuts have been sealed with cut paste. Some wire on here. So you can see I've just brought that branch down a little bit, and then and just put a little bit of movement on the end. I've brought also the other end of the wire is on that one at the back. So I've done quite a bit of thinning. I'm just going to stop there at the moment. I'll probably sometimes come back and have another fiddle with things, because I still think there's a little bit here and there. But that's what I do sometimes, is come back and just have a look at it. Also, obviously, when there's slightly more movement on it, so you can see that every branch is alive, that's sometimes the best to do. So I've done a fair bit. It's fairly clean here. I've just done a little bit of weeding. There's a bit more to do. It's easy to get rid of the smaller weeds. I might just tidy it up, but it doesn't need a repot. Yeah, it'll be next year. Woodlouse. So it's looking pretty good. I'm going to put it outside now so it doesn't get too warm in here. And then once it's in active growth, it'll start to get some feed. It won't be too crazy on it because it is a strong tree, and it's obviously got a lot of development, and I don't want to force too much on it. But it's coming along nicely. And then what I'm going to do is promise to show you a different tree on the next video. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Oh, the tree's moving around. Wants to come and say hello. Like and subscribe, and that'll make sure I do lots more videos. See you for now. Cheers.